Hello, this is RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Mobile Weekly / Mobile Q&A. We go over all latest news that happened during the week of mobile and answer your questions live. If you have a question you want to ask, just ask it in the comment section down below, and I will answer it before the end of the show. Alright guys, so sorry about last week. If you did catch some of my social media posts, basically my internet was out. Yes, I have Frontier internet, and they had a wide power or I don't know what outage, internet outage. And it lasted from, I want to say, Friday to Tuesday. It was awful. It was really annoying to say the least, simply because both me and my wife require internet for work. And although I do have a separate office I can go to, she doesn't have necessarily an office outside of the work office. So it was a very annoying issue. So glad to be back. And now we are going to start off with the news and then get to your questions. So again, if you have any questions you want to ask, just ask in the comments and I will answer it before the end of the show. But today we are starting off with the S23 Specs reveal. Basically, we have everything revealed at this point, so kind of let's get to first the colors and then the specs. So first off, we have a nice blue right here, followed by a really nice green, followed by a I want to call this silver. I don't know if they'll call it white, but it's definitely silver in my opinion. And then I think this is the one that's like a cherry blossom or something blossom. I forget if I remember correctly. But yeah, those are going to be the four colors. Now, they will vary depending on which size you get. So those are for the S23 on the top ones and the Ultra on the bottom ones. So they will vary between, and the shades can be different, such as this one for the S23 is a light green, whereas this one for the Ultra is going to be a dark green. So they will vary somewhat, but just so you guys can see it, and you guys can see all the different colors. On the Ultra, we're going to get black, silver, white, and lavender. And then exclusively from Samsung, you'll be able to get the silver and the red blossom kind of color. Let me know which colors, if any, you plan on getting from here. But as well as we are going to have some of the specs revealed here. So we are going to have a 1440p display, not a surprise. 120 hertz, and this is going to be Gorilla Glass Victus 2. So if I'm not mistaken, I don't always catch all the international phones, but I believe this might be the first ever with Victus 2, if I'm not mistaken. So that is something different for sure. Then you have a 5,000 milliamp battery, Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, 8 gigs or 12 gigs RAM, so there will be no 16 gig version, it looks like, at least not internationally. Perhaps in the US and in Korea there might be a different version, but as of right now, that's what we're seeing. Also, we are seeing that it is going to be 256, 512, and 1 terabyte for the S23 model. That's great because I will probably have to get the 512 as always. I am just past the point where I can get 256. If I look at my phone right now, I am at 277, so I literally wouldn't be able to transfer directly from my Fold to the S23 Ultra with that amount of storage, which kind of sucks. So yeah, I want to make sure I'm able to. Then we have 5G, Wi-Fi 6E, and Bluetooth. Now, some rumors are saying that there might be a version with Bluetooth with Wi-Fi 7. Whether that happens or not, it really doesn't matter. Wi-Fi 7 is irrelevant as of right now, and won't be relevant for honestly about at least 2 years, if not longer, just because nothing is really supporting it at this point. I mean, you have the first Wi-Fi 7 routers coming out this year, which means it's not going to be in a lot of homes till 2 years from now, to be quite honest, unless you happen to upgrade your router and you want the latest and greatest and best. I still think Wi-Fi 6E is all that matters as of right now. Then you do have the confirmed 200 megapixel f1.7. I do want to point that out because that is something I like. I could be wrong. I do think that the 108 megapixel camera was f1.9, if I'm not mistaken, or f1.8. But regardless, this is going to be amazing in low light. With an f1.7, it brings it to one of the lower ones. The lowest ever was f1.5 from Samsung's. Ooh, I want to say it was like the S8, S9, and S10 had that. The variable aperture. They could switch between f1.5 and 2.2, if I'm not mistaken. But it's been a while since we've had one. Of that, obviously it's the first time you ever had one that high of a megapixel, but that wide of an aperture will allow for better low light. So I'm excited to see what we're going to get from that from Samsung. And it is curious to see if there will be kind of a time frame where it will get better. I do fully expect them to get better at taking photos, but at launch it might not be perfect. To just let you guys know ahead of time. The reason is because of what happened with the Pixel 7 Pro, or Pixel 6 Pro, I should say. When Google went to a higher megapixel camera, it basically lost all of the data it had gained from computational photography for a smaller sensor size, because now it was a big sensor size that didn't need as much of basically padding it out and kind of like filling in the blanks. So what they had to do in that case was they had to make sure that they learned with the new bigger sensor. That is why the Pixel 7 Pro is much better than the Pixel 6 Pro, more so because of all the computational photography that they gained in the year with the Pixel 6 Pro. So although I fully imagine that Samsung will do updates very quickly and gain better, I will say that I guarantee you this camera will be the best by the end of the year of 2023 rather than at the beginning of the year. So we'll have to wait and see if I'm right on that, but I guarantee you, after gaining that much data from way more customers, let's not kid ourselves, Samsung sells way more than Pixel, so their ability to learn from the computational photography of a 200 megapixel camera should be far greater, and have a lot more sample size to be able to learn and take better photo quality than Pixel does with their own, because of how many they sell. So very curious to see how this turns out, but I am just so happy with the 200 megapixel camera coming. Not so happy with the ultra wide. I still am just honestly so tired of this damn ultra wide on this one. It's just I really don't like it. Front facing camera, we have 2.2, f2.2. And the telephotos didn't seem like they changed much. I didn't realize the telephoto was a 4.9. It's not bad, to be honest, for a 10x zoom, but it's definitely a point of why this camera is going to be much better in low light than this camera, just because of that huge difference in aperture. So yeah. All right, now that is the 23 Ultra. Then we have the 23 Plus. Now this is going to have a 50 megapixel with an f1.8. I will say too, this is a similar camera to the one we saw on the A53, and it was funny because Linus recently did a review on it on his channel, and a lot of people on the photo comparison between the A series and the S series actually preferred the A series, and I do think that is again what I was talking about a second ago, with having a megapixel camera sensor that has learned from a longer time frame to give you better computational photography than the newer camera can take. So I think that's kind of an interesting way of looking at it for sure. All right, 4700 megaamp battery, and I think that's pretty good because I think that's 100 more, if I'm not mistaken, compared to last year. So I think it's a slight bump up in battery. Everything else is the same. 8 gigs of RAM is what's going to be on here, and everything else looks the same as before. And then we have the S23. Now this, if I'm not mistaken, is slightly lower. I believe it was 4,000 on the S22, so I'm not really sure why it's a slightly smaller battery on this one. We'll have to wait and see if Samsung has any reasoning behind it or if anything makes any sense, but definitely have to check that one out as well. But yeah, those are going to be all the specs for you for all the three cameras, or for all the three phones. Let me know if you have any specific questions on the specs for any of them. Now, this next one is kind of interesting to me specifically because I do plan to upgrade my laptop before the end of the year. Now, as you guys know, I did upgrade my laptop recently, and it was to an Asus Zephyrus G15, and I'm pretty happy with it. I love that it connects everything with my Thunderbolt 4 cable to my dock and then sets up to everything that I have here on my desk. Absolutely love that. It does have a really good processor, a okay graphics card, and that's probably the reason I'm going to be upgrading it later this year. And everything else is great. I upgraded to 4 TB of RAM, 40 gigs of, 4 TB of storage, and 40 gigs of RAM. So really fast, but I never, ever considered Samsung to be a laptop that I would get for editing or creating or anything like that. You know, Samsung laptops, in my opinion, have been always okay. You know, passable laptops, but nothing really ever stood out about them, to be quite honest, other than their gorgeous display. They probably have the best display every year, quite frankly. Although Razer has a really good one coming out in a video that I did for Newegg to, I think on the 1st. Pre-orders for the new Razer Blade laptops start on the 1st, and there's one that just has the Razer Blade 16 has a really amazing display. But so that being said, I've never expected much of Samsung, quite honestly, when it comes to, should I consider it for my laptop that I can edit with and I can do stuff with? However, I will say, if this is to be true, Samsung is releasing a different kind of laptop this year. So before they released, you know, the regular standard laptop, then they also released the touchscreen laptop version. And then sometimes every 2 years, it was about, they released something called the Samsung Odyssey Book, which was the gaming version of their laptop series. It was always a big, heavy thing and nothing really powerful. But yeah, so here's the thing. That has changed because apparently Samsung is now going to be releasing a Galaxy Book 3 Ultra, which is more of a creator lightweight laptop, which is meant to compete more with like the Dell XPSs of the series and, you know, the many NVIDIA creator laptops that are out there from brands like MSI, like Asus, like all these other brands. And this has me very curious because this is expected to have up to a 13th Gen i9 processor, which is arguably going to be the best processor of the year on a laptop. 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM, really good. 1 terabyte SSD, better be upgradable, but I'm happy with it as a starting point. And this, up to a 4070 GPU. This is probably going to be, if I'm not mistaken, probably the best GPU that's ever been in a Samsung laptop. So I'm very curious about this. I really am. I'm very curious to see how this turns out. And I mean, it looks good. You know, it looks lightweight. It can do editing perfectly fine. I mean, with this card, I could edit 4K video quality, which I do plan to upgrade this year too. Right now, we're still doing 1080, but I do plan to do 4K before the end of this year and upgrading to it. And this would bring me a long way to doing that. Now, Samsung still is going to have some other ones as well. We are going to have the Book 3 360, which is their touchscreen version of it. That also has S Pen support. And that one is going to be more mid-range. It's going to only go up to an i5 processor, so nothing too fancy. Great for schoolwork kind of stuff. 16 gigs of DDR5 RAM, 256 gigs of storage starting off with. You definitely want to upgrade that. And Intel graphics. So very basic on that, but again, this would be like the college basic kind of laptop is what you're going for with that one. 1080p cameras, AKG speakers. We'll see how loud they really are with that. And of course, you have all of the Samsung stuff, like the Samsung Notes, Quick Share, Bixby, all that kind of stuff. You can easily share between your devices very easily. But yeah, I am very curious to see how this turns out, how it will come about, because Quite honestly, it kind of does get me a little interested. I've never been interested in a Samsung laptop to own for my own personal use ever. Honestly, I've never been the one that I've really been like, oh man, I really wanted to. But we'll have to wait and see. All right. Now we move on to this is a very interesting thing that came out, and I wanted to share with you guys if you are interested in it. Uh, Gmail. I don't know if this is just on Android or if this is across the board on Android and iOS, but it does give you an option now if you want it to track your items for you, track your packages via Gmail. And what this will do is essentially always have it right here. So it always have it, hey, this is expected to arrive on this date. It basically pulls the metadata from your emails and has it up here. And if there's a tracking number that you can track it with, it'll track it up at the top. So it really is cool if you do get a lot of packages from different places and you always want to kind of stay on top of it. I like the arriving part underneath it. I think that's a very nice touch. Honestly, an upgrade that we haven't really had any upgrades from Gmail in a long time, and this is a pretty good one. So I am happy with it. Now, some people might be like, oh, well, I don't want Google looking through my stuff. Hate to break it to you, they kind of already do. But yeah. While I do believe it's safe and it's something that I did for myself, not always obviously recommending it for everyone. Everyone is different, and everyone is always weary of different things about letting their data out. So it is something that I recommend because I find very easy and fascinating, and I get a lot of packages. So I am all for arriving right on the before I even open it, and definitely for a tracking number at the top, one click easy ability. So yeah, for sure. All right, two more articles, and then we will get to your questions. So if you did have a question you do want to ask, just go ahead and ask it. And I do want to give a shout out to Rudy Can't Game. Thank you for the super chat donation. I really appreciate it as always, sir. All right. Then we have the first renders of Huawei's P60 Pro. Now, the P series is typically one of the best cameras of the year, so that is why I at least wanted to mention it. Will it be something that goes overseas? Probably not. Huawei is pretty much regulated to China at this point now, and it doesn't seem to be an ending in sight for that. But I'm very curious on this sensor. I believe this is going to be the Sony 1-inch sensor that is the full-inch sensor that is going to kind of rave and do all this kind of stuff with great quality that we've seen on a few phones at the end of last year. With Huawei's camera learning technology too, I think it's going to be even better than it was on other phones. So we'll be curious to see how this turns out. But again, it's probably just going to stay in China. So I'm always curious to hear updates on Huawei, but always not as thrilled because we're not getting it in the US. One thing we might be getting in the US, though, that I'm very, very curious on is the Oppo Find N2 Flip. It is a global edition that is going to be coming out, and this is meant to compete directly with the Galaxy Flip 4. Now, Oppo is the same company that owns, or is a sister company, you can kind of say, of OnePlus. So I am very curious, because this is an international version, it would actually work in the US. So that is the first big thing. It's the first, one of the first phones that will work in the US from Oppo, and definitely one of the first foldables that will work perfectly in the US. So very, very curious to see how that goes. Also, very much so with the cameras. For a 50 megapixel main sensor on a camera like this, I'm very interested to see how the photo quality is going to be. And yeah, I'm just really kind of curious overall. Now, in terms of the processor on there, we see two different things on here. Is it supposed to have the Dimensity 9000 or the Dimensity 13? Because that's a huge difference. I'll have to get some clarification on that one, but I think it's the 9000. That is kind of weird that it has that. I think they just took this picture. But this is the 9000, 8 gigs RAM, 256 gigs of storage, and yeah, 43. That's a bigger battery than the Flip 4, so that's really nice. and it has a Super VOOC charge, which is 44 watts, so pretty good fast speed on that one. And yeah, guys, I am very curious to see how this one turns out. I just want some more competition. I will say that it is kind of shameless that they did pick the purple and the black, the two most popular colors on the flip. Yeah, competition will always kind of take away from the other one. But yeah, very curious to see how this one turns out and how it's received. I wonder what the price will be. Because I will say that if you get like it for 800, ooh, that's going to be really good. Yeah, I'm just very curious on it. All right, guys, and that was the news today. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments section, as I will be getting to all your questions now. Man, I will say, using the streaming software from my old laptop to this laptop, it's been a huge boost in performance. Like, I immediately noticed how much faster it is, for sure. Okay, let's get to it. Let's see. I've had it with T-Mobile. This is the second data breach in as many years. Can't they get the who together? Yeah, it really is crappy how many companies are just getting data breaches. And the thing is, it's like, I guess my biggest thing is I never know. Like, I feel there should be a bigger punishment to encourage better security. But then at the same time, like, how much of a punishment do you cripple a company to do that? But it is, I mean, it's ridiculous. The biggest one that I will say, when I've always said when people worry about their data being like, is my data out there? Yes, it is out there. When what's the credit card bureau company? Experian. I think it's Experian. When that company got its data breached, well, that's everything. That's every bit of information you've ever had, basically, from your social security to everything. It's just it's all there now, and that's for everyone. Like, if you've ever applied for credit or have owned a debit card or a credit card, it was gone then. Like, that breach is completely downplayed, I feel like, because I don't hear as much about it. So I really think that, like, people don't realize how much, like, that was the worst data breach in history, for the fact that it had everyone's information. Like, you weren't not on there. If you had a debit or credit card at some point, any kind of Experian, yeah, when that one leaked, it was everyone's information. So yeah, it just, like, when all these companies from T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, all these different ones, the two that I will say, hope to God they don't get one, is Apple and Google, because there are no companies that have a bigger, hold of everyone's information as those two companies. So yeah, those are the two that I would worry about the most, but luckily they have not gotten one yet, at least. So will they ever? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's the one that I worry about the most, quite frankly. All right, let's see. But yes, am I mad about the T-Mobile one? Yes, it's annoying, and yeah, it's everyone's phone numbers, it's, all that kind of stuff, and it's just, yeah, it's always annoying. It's one of the biggest reasons why, and that was another one that just got its data breach. LastPass, right? People were using LastPass so that they didn't have to worry about their passwords ever again, and it got hacked. So, like, that's why I am, like, glad that I've used Google's password manager, because I do believe you should have a password manager. It does make sense to randomize all of your passwords so that if one gets broken into, they can't get to everything else. The downside of that, of course, is if the one password manager gets hacked, like just happened to LastPass, well, then they have all your passwords now. Obviously, you know, if you do have LastPass, change your password immediately. And not to mention, you should randomize all your passwords again using LastPass if you want to keep using it, so that it's not, you know, your passwords were basically just revealed if you use LastPass. So yeah, be careful. All right. I got the Pixel 7. Would you upgrade to get OnePlus 10 or no? Thanks, bro. Um, OnePlus 10T? No, no. I would the Pixel 7. I would say is way better than that one. The OnePlus 11. Who knows? That one is coming out in a week or so, so that one might be a little bit more interesting. But as of right now, no. I would not. I would not upgrade to the OnePlus 10 T. What's up? Hi there, Rick. Have you heard anything about the S22 FE coming out this year? No, not since the rumored article we talked about. I think it was 3 weeks ago. That there might be a possibility of that one. It kind of cooled down, so at least I would say it's no longer coming out with the S23 series, as the rumors had suggested. Just because we haven't heard anything about it, and we have everything, pretty much every article you can think of on the S23, in terms of specs, colors, everything that's launching. We have promo things, all that kind of stuff. So I would say no on the S22 FE at this launch. Could be changing. My guess is if they do release an FE, it's going to be mid time again, which means, you know, we'll probably get it in May, June, as opposed to the launch with the Unpacked events. All right. Think disappointing to the S23 Ultra when you have the S. Is it worth getting an S23 Ultra when you have the S22 Ultra? We'll have to see how big of a difference that camera is, but that's the main difference that we're going to see is the camera and probably the battery. The Snapdragon 2, or sorry, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, or sorry, 8 Plus Gen 1, that came out with the Fold improved the battery very well off. So we're expecting that same camera, or sorry, battery improvement with the Gen 2 even more so. So it very well could be a thing of it's literally going to be the battery and the camera, two most important parts to most people, being upgraded from the S22 Ultra to the S23 Ultra. How big of a difference that will make, I can't say till I have it, so we'll have to wait and see. Whoa, a whole bunch of questions just loaded. Everybody drink. All right. Let's see. Aperture and small sensor are holding phones back. Technology needs to catch up. Yeah, it's all about everything catching up together for sure. Hey, we got 50 people in here. Yes, if you can smash that like button, it really does help out the stream. Is it possible to video call with T-Mobile on an unlocked phone, not using apps? I believe so. Well, like I can use Google Duo, no problem, but you said not using apps. So it uses Google Meet. If I typed in a number right now, so let's see. Let me turn down the brightness on this for you guys. So if you can see on here, this is an unlocked phone, and it has Google Meet come up at the bottom right on T-Mobile. This was just a fake number that I created a long time ago, and it basically you can use the Google Meet app built into the phone dialer. So it is using an app, but it's not using any service other than the default one. And I forgot Google Duo changed to Google Meet because Google has had so many video apps, but that's the default one that's used in the dialer. Let's see. Check with T-Mobile. Maybe you can get a similar installed on apps. But yeah, so I can do it again right off the phone. And this is an unlocked Fold 4 on T-Mobile. Hey, Quiet Storm, join us. Thank you. All these things in the stream. You can discuss all these things after the stream. There you go. Google knows your secrets. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Should I stay with the S22 Ultra or go with the Ultra S23 Ultra? I'm not sure if it's worth it. Again, the two things we expect to change on the S22 to the S23 is the camera and the battery. So the thing why that's so hard to say if it's worth the upgrade or not is because, well, quite frankly, those are the two most important things to most people. Most people want the better battery and better camera. Like those are, the two things that people always want better. For me, it's hard to say. I will say that the better camera is definitely the thing that interests me the most, just because I take photos for a living, I do thumbnails for a living. So a better camera always is like, yes, I want the best camera possible out there on the market. I want the best video quality out there on the market, so I can, not have to take this bigger camera I have right here and just use the phone that's in my pocket. These are things I want for sure. So those are things that really stand out to me in terms of it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. For me, I will say it depends on how important the battery and the camera are. Does your S22 Ultra die very quickly now? And would you want a battery life that's going to give you 3 or 4 more hours a day? Is that worth it to you? Then yes, probably it's worth the upgrade. Is it not? Do you not have a problem? Like, no, my battery life's fine. It lasts the end of the day. I don't really need a longer battery life. Then it's not. Is the camera quality as important to you as it is to me? Because again, for me, I shoot video with this phone. I take photos with this phone. I do social media with this phone for a living. So for me, having the best camera possible is important. It is crucial to me. So yeah, it all depends. Let's see. Samsung A03 camera test. I've never tested out the A03. So yeah, never tested it out. But the A4 is going to come out. The A14 already came out, actually, if I'm not mistaken. And so far, I know a friend of the channel, Wayne, on H2 Tech Videos. I think he's already checked it out, if I'm not mistaken. But definitely follow him because he'll cover it the best out of anyone on YouTube. Let's see. Keep an eye on the Samsung outlet. Get some really good deals and discounted on Samsung's student account, guys. Yeah, I always said I have 2 student accounts actually, and it's just something that, yeah, if you get a student account, you can get them very inexpensively online. I'm not going to say how to get it because I got flagged. I'll never forget this. My one YouTube strike was because I made a apps video that everyone makes on the internet, but for some reason mine got flagged because I send people how to download an app outside of Google Play Store. And when that one got flagged, I was just like, okay, well, this isn't worth it. Like, I have a permanent warning on my account because of it. So yeah, I won't show people how to do those kind of things even remotely close to it anymore. But that's the easiest one. So yeah. But yeah, if you get an EDU account, that one is really easy to get for sure. Oh, no one's asked me about this, and I have so many thoughts on it. Hey Ricky, I wanted your opinion on Chat GPT and OpenAI. Do you think it will affect jobs? Chat GPT also passed university exams. Would you say it's a good or bad thing for society? The internet. Is the internet a good or bad thing for society? It changed the world, and I got to see it. I was around when the internet was being born for the most part, right? Like, I was born in the late 80s, and I basically got to see dial up to DSL to cable to fiber. And the internet, for sure, is, brought things like we were able to find out and get things faster than ever before, and it changed the way we interacted with the entire world, from shopping to everything. Um, when I was in college, I failed, absolutely failed my first. Was it calculus or statistics? Now I forget. It was what I got for one of my degrees. But basically, I think it was statistics. I failed the first one entirely. Just did not get it. The teacher, like, it was a very monotone. It was a bad experience, right? Um, but took it again. Used websites. I don't know if they're still around anymore, but it was like Rate My Professor, and that is a prime example of how, like, my college life got better when I used that, because Rate My Professor showed how professors were, how what their style was, all that kind of stuff. So it was an internet tool that did not exist before, right? You were just like, oh, you maybe had a friend that took this professor before or whatever, but that affects you, right? Whatever professor you take will affect the way you are able to pass for a lot of people. Some people will pass no matter what, some people will fail no matter what, but some people, it will depend entirely on the professor. For me, I will say the professor had a lot to do with what I liked and what I didn't like. Uh, when I went to my first 2 years of community college, that was, I had a poli sci class. I wanted to become a lawyer. The poli sci class that I took when I first got there was the worst I've ever experienced. It was the worst class. It was old literature, and that was all we had. We literally read articles upon articles of political science from, literally, it was only like the 1600s, 1700s. It was just like so dated. And it was in, from Parliament in Europe, and all. It was just a horrible experience. And then, before I left the community college, within those 2 years, I had another professor that did much better with me, and it was current events and live and all that kind of stuff, and it was way better experience. Got an A. So two entirely different experiences. So what I was trying to say with the stats class, I got, the second class was all on computer. Well, your boy knows how to use a computer. So for every Excel um, thing that we had, which was every test, I was able to just save all the formulas. So I was able to just plug in. I had to figure out the numbers, but once I figured out the first numbers, boom, boom, my formula was done. So there are tools that people will use to take advantage. There has been things from the beginning. There was, like, Spark Notes, Cliff Notes, all those kind of things that came out. There's always things that people will take advantage with. Chat GPT can pass a university exam. That's pretty interesting, right? Because it really does make a difference. So, that all being said, these are going to be tools that will help people, that will make life easier for some people. Because if you think about, what's OpenAI is the one that owns ChatGPT. Which one is the artistry one? There's like three artist ones actually right now that are like drawing ones and all that kind of stuff. Those are very interesting because, if I uh, if I want to make a thumbnail, it could make a thumbnail for me. I could ask it, make a YouTube thumbnail for the S23 Ultra, and it would spit out thumbnails that are YouTube based that people like, right? All that kind of stuff. That would effectively help a person that isn't able to create, isn't able to do that kind of stuff, isn't able to do all that, and I don't have to be an artist to do it now. It just comes up. But then there's the whole concept of the artist one is very tricky because of the fact that the artist one is based off of other artists online. Now, there's a big debate with that because, well, you're stealing from them so much so that even Getty Images always has little Getty Images imprint if you don't have the login, and a lot of these AIs have actually printed the Getty Images one because they have seen that as a common thing, so they think it's supposed to be on a lot of images. It's not, but AI isn't perfect. So here's the thing. It will be dangerous in the sense that some people are going to take advantage of it. It would also it's also, I would say, for artists, for the drawing one specifically, and then I'll get back to the Chat GPT. Um, for artistry, it's been a roller coaster, man. NFTs were supposed to be the promised land because if you were an artist that drew and designed and all that kind of stuff, unless you were a true graphics designer level, it paintings, things like that, you were always going to be broke. NFTs was the light at the end of the tunnel, the way you could make money finally as an artist, that everyone who studied the craft was able to make money. They came and went, they died. But if we get to the point where we can just type in a words like, again, YouTube thumbnail for the Galaxy S23 Ultra, if I can type that in and I spit out 6 images, that's actually spit, sorry about that, and I get 6 images of thumbnails, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll pick this one, and it does very well. It's like I don't even need a graphics designer possibly degree anymore, right? I don't need to know graphics designing then. So that's very interesting. With ChatGPT, it can write a song. It can, write articles. It can do all this kind of stuff. It's crazy in that sense. Is it where it could take over a job? No, not yet. And that's the scary part, right? Not yet. But it is something that I've always kind of thought as a father, right? That basically I want my kids to get into tech. Why? Because a lot of jobs, like we look at the fast food industry, that a lot of the back end jobs that are just, do one thing, do another thing, do another thing, do another thing. Those things can be taken over by machines. And probably eventually a lot of those things will. And you have to be able to get a job that isn't replaceable. And that's what it's really interesting. It's like it's good in the sense that, like, if I have a website and I don't have the time to make an article about anything, I can use ChatGPT to give me a first draft of something. But I would still need to know my stuff to be able to make it better and make it correct and know where its flaws are. And that's still the thing that you can always, I think, rely on for the foreseeable future, is that there will always need to be a person that knows how to operate the machine, how to do the things that a machine can't do, that it's a waste of money to build a machine to do this task because a person's going to do it way better. It kind of always reminds me, if anyone's ever seen the movie Hidden Figures. Hidden Figures was a movie that very, very inspirational, did a lot of things like that. But the one thing that I will say that was very interesting about it was a lady saw that machines were starting to do calculations and from IBM, and she took it upon herself to read the machine manual right when it came in. So much so that when the machine had a problem, she was the only expert on it, and thus made herself invaluable. And then she trained everyone on the machine and all of those kind of things. So it's really interesting from that you realize, like, there will be things, there will be technologies that will make certain jobs and certain tasks that we had to do before irrelevant, right? Think about calculators. There was a time when you had to do all that math. Now you don't, because you can just use a calculator. So that is the difference, is that, we are getting technology that does make a difference, but yeah. All right. Is this live stream about Samsung or AI? I answer all questions, and there are multiple questions about Chat GPT. So I was answering those questions, and I will answer Samsung stuff too. But if you missed earlier, we went over all the Samsung stuff in the articles from the beginning. All right, let's get to the rest. Let's see. iTunes, Google Play aren't the same thing, so probably not. I don't know if you. Oh, I'm curious. Can you put iTunes gift card on Google Play Store? No, you can't. It's one or the other. Now I will say, if you buy a song with iTunes, you can typically buy everything from iTunes and bring it over to Google. So you can do that. Actually, it's been so long that I don't know if Google Music does a transfer. So, when Google was Google Play Music, it transferred everything from your iTunes account into Google. I don't know if it does that anymore with I don't know if it does that anymore. So, looking upon it really quickly, I cannot see a section other than upload music. So, I would say if you do have iTunes on your computer, you might still be able to upload it to Google YouTube Music, and then that should work. But that's the only way I could think of right now. Before, they had like a catch-all, like basically you could just upload everything. You can connect your iTunes account to Google Play Music and upload everything. But since YouTube Music took over, it doesn't look like they have that feature. Just uploading whatever music's on your computer to their service. That was how I got from Amazon. If I would buy something on Amazon Music, I would download it to my computer, and then I would upload it to YouTube Music, so that I would have the file on both platforms. Let's see. I use the Shop app to sign into my accounts through Gmail and all that stuff. Oh yeah, the Shop app. That is a definite way to do it, and it's a very convenient way. Again, the thing of is what we just said earlier. A lot of companies get hacked. I guarantee you, in the next 10 years, Shop will get hacked. So that's what would worry me about that. And I'm not saying don't use it. I'm saying I'm just being facetious that like it's a very likely possibility by how many companies are getting hacked. The only two that haven't and that I trust are Google and Apple at this point. But that's just me. All right. Rudy, I'm not sure you're using 2011. Still works. It's 75% value. No. Did you get any updates, Samsung, about Unpacked or even a sponsorship to the kitchen yet? Yes, I am going to Samsung Unpacked. I will be flying out to San Francisco on Tuesday, and I will be flying back Wednesday. It's a real quick trip for me. Just basically staying at a hotel one night, leaving, and then going. It's a quick trip for me. I'm just basically going to cover the show and then come back home. So I'll try to get as much information as I can out there, but that's it. As far as the kitchen renovation is pretty much done now for the most part. I'm going to be able to take off all the plastic, as of tomorrow. So we'll be happy to finally do that. Very happy to finally have that done. Take some B-roll for Samsung, probably at the end of this week, and then hopefully, yeah, do a whole video on that set. What is your take on the latest T-Mobile breach? I don't like it. It's annoying, and I debate whether what kind of action should be taken against companies that get data breaches, because it is our information. It's something that it's very valuable, and it's something that could ruin people's lives if people get a hold of your information. So yeah, it's a whole thing. Yeah. I think it was Experion and Equifax, actually. I think it was both have gotten their stuff taken. But yeah, let's see. And is there an easy way to get Android 12 or Android 13 on my S9? No, I wouldn't say there's necessarily an easy way to do that. It basically, um, you can update it up to the point where you have it, and then after that you can get rooting. XDA developers is the best place that I would still recommend if you want to root. And yeah, that would be the best place for that. Would you trade in a Flip 4 for the S23? Ooh, not for an S23, maybe an S23 Plus. But I will be trading in my Flip 4 for the I'm going to be trading in this Flip 4 for the what is it called? The S23 Ultra. So I will keep the Fold for now, and then probably trade that in when the new Fold comes out. That way I always have an Ultra camera. That was one really thing I wanted to kind of fix this year. All right, let's see. What do you think about Google launching its own chatbot to rival ChatGPT? It needs to. It needs to. They cannot pull a Microsoft essentially and fall behind. That's what Microsoft did when the mobile industry boomed, and when the smartphone industry, when the smartphone industry boomed, and when advertising boomed. They were just on the ends, and it cost them for a long time. Also, Goldman Sachs made over $1 billion in loss this year because of the Apple Card. Thoughts? I did not hear that. I did not hear about Goldman Sachs losing $1 billion in loss. I wonder why. Goldman Sachs. I will have to look that up. Got it. I see a 9 to 5 Mac article about it. I will find that out. I'm curious of why that would be. Okay. Let's see. Also, I use Bitwarner, the best password manager out there. I haven't heard of it, but I'll take a look at it. Always curious to learn something new. Is it bad to save your passwords in a secure folder? Thank you for your live stream. No. I mean, saving your passwords one way or another in a secure folder. I'm guessing you mean like a secure folder on your computer, or maybe in your phone. It depends on what kind of encryption the device uses, I would say, and how you encrypt it. 256-bit encryption is, military grade encryption, so like that would be great, but I don't know how you're encrypting it. All right. I have an S22 Ultra. Is there any real advantage? To upgrade to the S23 Ultra, like I said, it really is battery life and camera. I don't have it yet, so I can't tell you directly, but those are the two expected things to really have a big improvement. I will have it in my hand in 3 days on Wednesday morning. So I'll have more to tell you guys next week. All right. On T-Mobile, I can upgrade phones, so I might as well upgrade to the S3. There you go. Hi, Ricky. Good advice for, to friends and family. How do you choose the best phone? What is the happy medium? Oh, man. I mean, it's different for everyone. And I always say, figure out what's important to you. right? Like, if a person just wants to take photos, have good camera quality, and they just want a decent battery life all the way around, I'd probably recommend a Pixel. Like, great for those purposes. If a person's been on Samsung all their Android life, it is pretty much the best one, I would say, to keep going with, because they change very seldomly, like an iPhone in a sense, where if you're locked into their stuff, it really is like when I use another phone and it doesn't have link share, the ability to text 4K videos to an iPhone user at perfect quality, that's something that a Samsung phone can do that a Pixel can't. So those are things that really do stand out. But yeah, those are things that really make a difference for sure. So that's what it depends on. It depends on what the person wants to do. Is that important to you to be able? Do you have maybe even a significant other that has an iPhone, and you're like, I want to be able to send them videos and they're not horribly mad at me? Well, Samsung phone can do that. So it just depends. It really does depend on what a person needs. And, like, some Android phones like Samsung's have easy mode. Those I would recommend for senior citizens. Maybe they're coming from a flip phone and they want to just have their first smartphone. That is an easy transition. It is the one that I upgraded my dad to before he passed. When he went from a flip phone to a smartphone, his phone was always on easy mode. It was the permanent mode that his phone would be on, just because it was easiest for him to understand. So it depends on the person and what they need it for and what they use it for. But that mode, although others have adopted it and some have let go of it, to be quite honest, easy mode on Samsung is one of the biggest reasons why I've always recommended Samsung. Because when people say, "Oh, get an iPhone, it's the easiest phone," it's not. Easy mode on a Samsung is way easier than an iPhone will ever be. Way simpler. So yeah, it just depends on what you really want and what matters to them. Just about everybody stays statistics twice. They flunked the first time. Hey man, I was one of them. LL, sounds like his teacher was clear eyes. We yeah, Bueller. Um, we are on the last gen before the internet. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are, and I mean, that's the thing. It's like I was me and a guy in his 20s, so 10 years younger than me, right? I tripped him up one saying that, like, my daughter has no idea what the save file icon is, right? A floppy disk. She had no idea what that was. My son, more than likely, will never know what a CD, DVD, or Blu-ray is. Probably will never know, because by the time he's 5 in 2 years, I don't think I'll have any of those in my house. I have my PS5's digital. Most Switch games we buy now are digital. Some we still have some cartridges, and I still do have for PS4. All of the games were pretty much on the gaming disc, and that one my daughter has right now. So she has her PS4. She has my old PS4 in her room, and she can game on that in her room. And then the living room has the PS5. But by the time a PS5 Pro comes out, trickle down effect. Someone else will get that PS4 Pro. PS5 currently will go into my daughter's room, and then the PS5 Pro will probably go into the living room. So, yeah, my son more than likely will probably never know what a CD, DVD, or Blu-ray is. It's crazy when you think about these technologies like that. Like, yeah, like, my daughter has had the internet all her life. I didn't. So it's just like all these different things, these different aspects. All right. Um, let's see. Where are we going to? Any news on exclusive colors, buddy? Yeah, I told you the what was it? The we had it at the beginning of the show, but exclusive colors for the S23 Ultra are going to be silver and red. The exclusive colors for the S23 Plus are going to be baby blue and green, or light green, I should say. And then a similar ones for the regular S23. So those are the exclusive colors that Samsung will have that you wouldn't be able to get like at carrier stores. Um, I was born way, way before the internet. I remember the first video game. Anyone remember Channel F game console scanning in the late 70s? I do not. I was born in the late 80s when I was born. Um, just a wireless recharge meter. There you go. Let's see. Let's see. Did they post the S23 exclusive? Yeah, already talked about that. It's a TEC channel. Yes. Tech on my channel stands for technology, entertainment. So I do movie reviews every so often. I forgot what the C stood for. Creating content. So sometimes I'll do content on how to set up this kind of video. And then H, housing, because I'm also a real estate agent. So I have different things on that. So yeah. If computers take over our jobs, we could just spend our days not doing much. Yeah, there would be. Can't think of creative. Thank you, Quiet. You got it. Technology, entertainment. Couldn't remember the C, and then home. Yes. Um. There we go. Newegg had a birthday recently, and it had many cool festivities. Yes. If you ever want to say, is the YouTube tech guy famous? You know, there I am, right there, on the Newegg website, and I have been there many times, and I'll be there again. But yeah, I'm usually on some of their marketing material. So yeah, tech guy, right there. I was born under a bad sign. Was it the stop sign or which was sign? What's a bad sign? um, let's see. I was born in 2007. Yep. Yep. You're born around my daughter's age, and then yeah, my son was born just before 2020. So yeah, all these things. But yeah, it's really interesting that again that some people, the different lives people have based on the technology that's available for sure. Um, all right, guys, we are going to be wrapping up. We are over an hour in. Get your last minute questions if you have any. If not, we'll be wrapping up. But yeah, Wednesday I'm going to be going out. I should be filming, finishing up, wrapping up 2 videos. They're sponsored videos, so they will be sent in, but hopefully at least one will be out at the beginning of this week, and then we have a lot of videos. We're also going to be having more shorts. Oh, I was just joking. It's a song. Got it. I mean, I was just joking, obviously, too. But we're going to be having more YouTube shorts. YouTube is going to start paying for shorts the same way they pay for YouTube videos. Now, does that mean that I am going to flood you with like 3 or 5 shorts every single day? No. There might be 3 shorts on the Samsung launch day because those will be quick to get up, and obviously they might do well, so I'm going to probably do some YouTube shorts that day. But my idea is hopefully shorts are going to help me bridge the gap. As you guys know, I have been doing a video once every week to once every 2 weeks at this point, on average. So in order to help fill up some of that gap, I'm going to start putting some shorts up on the days where we would have had nothing. And some of them will be very, shorts are under 60 seconds. So some of them will just be like a B-roll shot, of a product with my voiceover on it and telling you about the product and having a link in the description. Another definite possibility that I'm going to start is I'm going to bring back, because I think it fits well for a shorts video, should you buy it? And just under 60 seconds tell you, should you buy a product? It's that simple. In under 60 seconds, I'm going to say, hey, should you buy the Galaxy Fold 4? Tell you the reasons why and tell you the reasons why not. And that's it. So, yeah. That's as simple as can be. So, like, those are going to be, or like, certain earbuds. Like, should you buy the Soundcore Liberty 4s and all those kind of things. And the reason why is because I like I said, I am trying to grow this year to be able to earn more money doing all of my content. And one other thing that is going to create is that I'm also going to start uploading videos like that, should you buy it, to Amazon. So you will start to see some of my old videos, and that's all it is right now, some of my old videos. But if you literally look for YouTube Tech Guy, I will put this in the chat, and just so I don't get flagged, I'm gonna do this version because I don't want YouTube to flag me. But this is something that I'm going to basically start doing, and that is those same short videos I'm going to hopefully, kind of double up on the money I would be getting by basically putting them on YouTube and putting them on Amazon. And the idea behind that is, that hopefully I will be able to make better content, and the content that I do make will be of better quality. So yeah, you can follow me on there if you want to for Amazon. It just might help me get previewed a little bit more for some of those videos. But upon uploading a couple of those videos, hey, I got like $200 more this month. Great. Like, it's like, hey, that's money I wouldn't have gotten before. So every little bit helps. I'm sure you guys can agree. Like, that can be for like a couple meals for the week or something else. So again, I'm not a big time YouTuber. I never have claimed to be. I try to always make sure that everything I do is the way I feel that it should be done right in my own way. But yeah. Wait, they flag your Amazon links? I think they might flag if you would do it not the way I did it. I did it as a short link, but sometimes YouTube does flag longer links, yes. But the short links, they never flag. So yeah. But yeah, guys, that is everything I have right now. Yeah, that's everything. We'll be getting some content up. Like I said, Gravistar and the Nebula projector are the two videos I have coming, and I still have the how to improve your camera quality on the Pixel 7 as well coming up. All right, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed your weekend, and I will see you guys with a lot of content coming out this week, and definitely more to come next Sunday. Make sure to think about every single question you have to ask on the S23 series, as I will try to answer it. But yeah, follow me on at YouTube Tech Guy on all social media, and any questions you ask me, try to ask it by Tuesday night, because Wednesday morning, hey, I'm gonna have it in my hand. All right, guys, thank you guys always so much for watching. Oh, someone just did ask a wrestling question. Did I enjoy Royal Rumble? I absolutely loved the pay-per-view. Definitely the two highlights, men's Royal Rumble, or sorry, three highlights: men's Royal Rumble, pitch black match, and for sure Roman Reigns' one. The women's one was kind of not too many surprises. The best part was Asuka and Rhea. Those were the two best ones by far. I hated Nia Jax. And also, but yeah, the ending to Roman Reigns stuff, awesome. Cody, loved it. All the surprises too for the men's one. It was just that Logan Paul and Ricochet clip. If you guys aren't even into wrestling and you search Logan Paul and Ricochet, it's a crazy thing that they did. But yeah, lots of fun, lots of crazy stunts, and yeah, awesome. I really enjoyed it. All right, guys, thank you guys always so much for watching again. I really do appreciate it, and I will catch you guys later this week. Before you leave, please give a like, thumbs up. Thank you as always for watching. This has been RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy.